They're issuing a ticket to this vehicle. It says ambulance, but when you look inside, there is a casket. I don't know if there's a body in there also, but they're issuing a ticket for illegal parking. Good morning everyone, MMDA back on the road. Right now they're issuing a ticket to this jeepney. You can see it's parked directly under the sign. It says no parking both sides. And over here they're leaving a ticket on the windscreen of this vehicle for obstructing what should be the sidewalk. They want to keep sidewalks clear for pedestrians so it keeps them safe and keeps the road unobstructed for traffic. In front of this bread shop here you'll see there's vehicles even double parked. This is a no parking both sides road. So they'll ask now for the license from each driver, issue them a ticket and then send them on their way. This car's moved forward, but they're still going to issue a ticket because when they arrived, not only was he parked, but he was actually double parked. A lady in one of the vehicles asked me if I'm buying Pandesal, where am I meant to park? And I said, well, you have to find the nearest legal parking and then walk here on foot. Unfortunately, it's a Mabuhay lane, which means it's prioritized for clearing for anti-illegal parking operations, because it's an alternative to EDSA, so they're very strict on these roads. And of course it's not just cars, it's also motorcycles that are being issued tickets.
Actually ma'am, hindi na naman po kayo yung natikitan ngayon. Kung mapapansin nyo po, lahat po nung nakapark kanina, tinikitan po. Pati nga yung motor. So, hindi po na, pati po yung motor, tinikitan din po. So, hindi po kasi pwedeng i-excuse yun ma'am.
One lady started crying and asked, can't you just let me go with a warning? They said they can't do that because imagine how many vehicles they've already ticketed. It just wouldn't be fair. Aside from that, if they just give warnings to everyone, nothing will ever change. And over here they've stopped one motorcycle, back rider, no helmet, so they'll issue a ticket and then advise the driver he can continue, but the passenger will have to go on foot. Over here they're issuing a ticket to this vehicle. You'll see it has its hazard lights on, but that doesn't exempt it from being given a ticket. And you'll see across the road the team are issuing one more ticket. There was a lady at the Pandesal shop earlier. She was saying, why don't the team do their job? I said they're out here doing their job there every day. And she said, why don't they go to Banawi? And I said, well, they can go to Banawi, they've been to Banawi, but then when you go to Banawi, people say, why don't you go to Divisoria? And then when they go to Divisoria, people say, why don't you go to Baclaran? Basically, anywhere you go, people say, hey, why don't you go here instead? The truth is, they can't be everywhere at the same time, and there's only so many MMDA. I said to her, where are the barangay? Do you see them anywhere? No. Where's the city? Do you see them anywhere? No. So instead of getting angry at the people who are doing something, get angry at the people who aren't doing something. And then I said, why don't you call the presidential complaints hotline? And she said, no, I don't believe in that. I said, well, that's okay, that's your decision, but if nobody goes through the process of filing a proper official complaint, nothing will ever change, no one will ever be held responsible. So if you want to see action, go through the complaints process and they will make sure that the barangay, the city, the MMDA, whatever agency is either doing the job or they're being held responsible for not doing the job. Sometimes people say, hey, you need to place more signs, but look, people often park right next to the parking sign, almost as if it's a challenge, like no parking, well, let's see. Anyway, they're issuing a ticket to this one now, and over here they stopped the motorcycle rider, both the driver and the back passenger, no helmet. The team are now calling in a tow truck for this vehicle because there's no plates on the front, there's no plates on the back, there's no conduction stickers, it's obstructing the sidewalk and it's partially hanging into the road. No driver, no way to ticket the vehicle, so they're calling in a tow truck to take it away, saying that someone just came out of the property, so they might be able to ticket him if he has a driver's license. Someone has now handed over the license, so they will be able to issue a ticket to this one and they won't need to tow it away, but they're advising don't use this on the road unless you're going to put plates on it. They're issuing a ticket to this lady now wearing a helmet on her elbow instead of her head, 1,500. They're flagging down this vehicle now, no seatbelt on the driver. So they're just writing out the ticket now, then they'll advise him to put on the seatbelt and send him on his way. When we first arrived on this street, there's a lot of tables and chairs here, and then people are quickly rushing to take them inside to avoid them being confiscated by the sidewalk clearing team. You can see some of them are still along here. That's the kind of a problem, to be honest, because they take them in and then as soon as the team leave, they put them out again. They obstruct the sidewalk for their business and force all the pedestrians into the road. And personally, as a pedestrian, I hate walking in the road because people get so close to you with their vehicles. Sometimes they clip you with the wing mirror, and one day it could be much worse. You could end up dead. And over here they stopped one more motorcycle, papa, mama, young child in the middle, none with helmets. There's actually a separate law, Children's Safety on Motorcycle Act, I think 2015, which has very strict penalties for having babies on the bike. But as far as I know, it's not really being enforced by anyone. So they'll ticket them, for example, no helmet, excess passenger, but they won't specifically use the law that was designed to protect children. Over here they stopped another rider without a helmet. Unfortunately, he can't show a license and he can't show any OR or CR for the bike. They have no way to identify the driver, no way to identify the bike. That makes it impoundable. One more vehicle they're stopping, no seatbelt on the driver. And just like before, they'll ask for the license, write out the ticket, give it to the driver, advise him to wear his seatbelt and send him on his way. It's only 300 peso for not wearing a seatbelt. And over here they're issuing a ticket to this vehicle. You can see it's parked partially on the sidewalk, partially in the road. And you'll see over here they're putting a ticket on the windscreen, unattended, so 2,000 peso for illegal parking unattended. And you'll see the enforcer's also taking his own picture of the vehicle so that if there's ever a complaint, he can say, well look, obstructing the sidewalk, partially obstructing the road. And on the bridge here they just issued a ticket to this black car and they're issuing a ticket to that van over there, both for illegal parking. This is another common complaint area. It's the vulcanizing shops and tire shops along here that obstruct the sidewalk, obstruct the road. As soon as they saw the team down the road, they rushed coming out, moving everything out the road, moving everything out the sidewalk. So some stuff is being confiscated by the team. They've been here so many times. I can't even remember how many times. Same on the other side, they've had to clear the sidewalk before because a lot of children walk along here, school children, and they don't want them walking in the road because it's so dangerous for them. And over here they stopped another motorcycle with a young child on the back, very dangerous. He managed to stop that bike. It didn't stop for enforcers further along the road. Aside from no helmets, I think this is also a one-way road that they just came down. The team have been on this street for around 20 minutes and 3 of the barangay traffic enforcers just arrived. It's just amazing. Where were they before the MMDA arrived? Why weren't they here doing their jobs? And over here they're about to issue a ticket to this vehicle. Again, it has its hazard lights on, but it doesn't exempt it from getting a ticket. And they're also issuing a ticket to this vehicle here. Again, it will be illegal parking and obstruction. You can see the enforcer taking his own picture just as evidence. Over here they're about to issue a ticket to this tricycle and the driver come running back. So they're asking him now to hand over his license so they can issue a ticket. It is much cheaper if you're with the vehicle, so he did the right thing by running back, but they still need the license and they'll still issue a ticket. And you'll see the sidewalk clearing team have been busy picking up anything that's obstructing the road, obstructing the sidewalk, trying to make things a little bit easier for pedestrians and also decongest the road because it's all connected to each other. And this right here is the perfect example of why people don't use sidewalks, because look at this slope on this, the extreme angle, it's just insane. And then when it's not like this, it's up down where people have built their own steps and things like that. It's just so uncomfortable as a pedestrian and it's difficult, especially if you're elderly, for example. You can't walk like this. So that's why people just give up and they just walk in the road. So I do wish that the city were a little bit more strict on this. People that, you know, adjust the sidewalk, make them into parking ramps and things like that, because it's just impossible for pedestrians to use. Anyway, you'll see the enforcer here. He is issuing a ticket to this vehicle for obstructing what should be the sidewalk, even if it's a really sucky sidewalk. And saying that, just on the other side is another vehicle, so there's actually 2 being ticketed here. And the team are now issuing a ticket to this blue vehicle. You can see obstructing the sidewalk, also the back of it is hanging in the road itself. And 2 more tickets over here for the exact same reason. And over here they're issuing a ticket to this vehicle. You can see there is a sign over there that says no parking both sides. 1 more ticket over here to this owner type jeepney, illegal parking and obstruction. They stopped a motorcycle rider here, no helmet, 2 people, obviously no plate, they don't have an OR, CR, and can't show a license because they don't have a student permit, so that makes this vehicle impoundable. You see the sidewalk over here is completely blocked by this business. I'm wondering if the sidewalk clearing team are going to confiscate that. I guess we'll see what happens. It looks like this guy's coming in now because when they see the sidewalk clearing team, they know, oh, we better move our stuff off the sidewalk. What they often do in cases like this is let them remove their products but then take the stands themselves to make sure they don't end up back here on the sidewalk. So there you go, they've unloaded the products, but they will be taking the stand and they'll be confiscating that, putting that on the back of the sidewalk clearing truck. And 1 more motorcycle here. You see that guy on the back, no helmet. In fact, he has a helmet, but it's on his elbow instead of his head. Although this vehicle looks abandoned, there is a plate on the back. That means they can issue a ticket. Whether that ticket will ever be paid, I don't know, but they can issue the ticket and it will prevent this from ever being registered until that ticket is paid. The team are now on Araneta Avenue. It's a very busy road, especially because of the construction over here. They're issuing a ticket to this vehicle. It says ambulance, but when you look inside, There's a casket. I don't know if there's a body in there also, but they're issuing a ticket for illegal parking. Honestly, there's just too many vehicles like this, always speeding around, jumping red lights, acting like they're in an emergency. This one's a little bit unusual because there's a casket in the back, but a lot of the time they're just used as a taxi service. The problem is, as a driver, you don't know if it's a legitimate emergency or if they're just abusing the fact that it says ambulance. So you do have to give way, but for sure there's a lot of people abusing these. The enforcers are moving in now to stop a motorcycle. I think there's 4 people in it, 2 adults, 2 children. Let's see, 3 children, so 5 people on this motorcycle. Incredible, so dangerous. And the driver said he doesn't have a license, so bike's going to be impounded. Incredible. And right now they're talking to the driver of this vehicle, obstructing what should be the sidewalk, and 2 more vehicles over here being issued tickets. Actually, it's quite unfortunate because this black car here could have driven forward into this garage, wouldn't be any problem, but because it's obstructing the sidewalk, it gets a ticket. Flagging down this vehicle here, and you'll see they're just issuing the ticket now. The violation is no seatbelt, and over here they just stopped this motorcycle. You can see the lady on the back wearing a baseball cap instead of a helmet.